welcome to another installment in relation to the Hulk 181. So what I want to do is I want to try to make the color for the pulp for the interior pages. A lot of people ask me questions, what the process is. So I'm going to walk through it right now because I fine-tuned the process substantially. So what I did, as you guys knew, when I went to the art supply store, I purchased various different types of acid-free paper. This is my old acid-free paper. So what I have right now essentially is 4 colors that I want to try to work with, and I want to try to match out the color as best as possible to the interior of the book. So seeing these colors that the newsprint basically elicits, I think that a brown, dark brown, I would say a yellow, and a white mixed together on a 1/3 ratio, 1:1:1, would make the proper color. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 1 of each. And then what I also do is if I add 3 colors or 3 2x2, these are all 2x2 squares, I will add the same amount of mulberry paper. And that's what I did for the cover. So I will take detailed notes and I will soak these pieces in warm water because we want to dissolve the paper in warm water so that the pulp loosens. So let's take this off because we don't want to wet it, which we will be wetting it in the future, but not now. And I have my warm water, and then all I will do is I will take the 2x2 pieces, 2" by 2", and I will soak it. The longer you soak it, the easier it is to dissolve and the easier it is to blend. So this will be soaked probably for overnight. I like to do it. And then what I do overnight, I like to take my hand and I roll the pulp in my hand and I rip it up gently and I release it into the water again. And then what we'll do is we'll blend it, and then we're gonna make a mock piece of paper, and we're gonna put the paper and we're gonna compare it to the color of the newsprint of the interior. So stay tuned. Okay guys, we are back, and what I basically did is I let the pulp sit in the water. I didn't do it overnight. I did it for about 4 hours just so we can dissolve it and loosen up the paper a little bit. If I was doing it for the comics, I would do it a lot longer, but we're doing it now just to test out the color. So I poured it into the blender, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna blend it to loosen it up and to create the pulp. And then we're gonna test it out by making a test sheet so we can compare the color. So let's blend it up a little bit. I'm trying to blend my pulps a little bit less and soak it more in order to create a better pulp so we don't rip up or shred the mulberry as much as I have done in the past. I think that's good. So what we want to do now is we're going to set it up for a test in relation to the color. So what I want to do, bear with me, I want to get 2 pieces of my Rimet paper. And then what we're also going to do is we are going to pour the pulp into my salad dressing container, just so we can spread it and we can see how it goes. That's enough for now. And let's get this done with. So now I have the ratio, 1 of each one of my colors, and if this pulp actually works, I can replicate it very easily just by doubling it or leaving it the same. So let's get going. All I want to do is just make a piece of paper right now, and unfortunately the pulp should have mixed a little bit more, because you can see it's not spreading as much as I would like it to. Plus, I may have added a little too much water in relation to the pulp amount. And this is an example of how it's important to soak it for a lot longer. But I'm liking what I'm seeing now. And I would double the actual amount of paper and blend it more in order to get the consistency that I want. But right now, this is not that bad. And as you'll see, when I flatten it out with the rolling pin and take the moisture out, it's going to look more like paper. So let's close it up just like this. And again, I'm using the Costco wee wee pads. So what we want to do is try to get out as much water as possible. And as you can see, a lot of water did come out. Let's put it over here. We'll use this part of the wee wee pad to get the water out. I just want to put a paper towel on top. And this is a good learning process because, again, I would blend it more, and I would also add more paper to create more pulp. But right now, remember, our main goal is just to try to get the proper color match that we want in order to match up with the inside cover of the book. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to put a little more pulp. We're just going to do a little more. And again, this is just a testing. This is not the finished product. And I would start fresh by letting the actual pulp soak for a lot longer, and I would shred it a lot more with my hands and with the blender. But again, we are just trying to get a color match, so we set it up nice once and once only, because I want to try to match the color as best as possible. And that's very important to me because we don't want it to be like the lab rat that James won in my 800 subscriber giveaway. We want to make this where it is matching to the best of our ability, or at least my ability, which is not that good. Still an amateur hack, but I am getting better, and I will get better. So, what we have now is the test for the interior. We're gonna let this dry, and then after it's dried, we'll compare it with the interior of the page, so stay tuned. Okay guys, we are back. So my test pulp that I did to try to match up with the actual interior of the Hulk 181 is done. It's dried. So now what we can do is we can test it out. So this is the color. I honestly think that it is too light, which is fine. And I know it's too light because I tested it off camera. So, let me just give you an example. There is the color difference. So, in the past, I may have used it, but I'm trying to up my game because I want to really make this as best as possible. So, as you can see, that would stand out and it would not be a good job. So, what did I do? Two things. One, I documented the types of paper that I put in to make this color. And as you know, I use my 2x2 variations in color. I'm using 3 now. So for this color, I used 1 brown, 1 yellow brown, and 1 white, and equal numbers of the mulberry pulp paper. So what I did is, being that this color needs to, in my opinion, get a little darker and more brown, I created a different pulp mixture, which is currently in this beaker, and this includes 3 brown 2x2, in addition to 1 white and 1 yellow brown. So I'm gonna do this mixture up, and I'm gonna do the same test process as I did in my prior segment in this upload, and we're gonna find the right color to match the interior page of the Hulk 181. So next upload, hopefully I'll have the right color, and I'm not gonna film the process because I think I gave the general overview of how I'm going to do it. And it may take 5-6 times that I have to try to tweak the color formula, or it may take the next time that I do it. So instead of filming each one, I'll let you know the results when I get there. So thank you for sticking by, YouTube, and stay tuned.